BC Radio Darwin and the Northern Territory.
Now, if you've noticed more paddles on your local tennis or badminton court lately, it's probably because of pickleball, which has absolutely taken the world by storm, including here in the Northern Territory, from the top end all the way down to the centre. And for the first time ever, the Northern Territory will be holding a pickleball championship. I just love saying pickleball. It's just one of those things that rolls off the tongue. Brendan Lee is the Executive Officer at Pickleball Australia. Hello, Brendan.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Do you just say pickleball all the time because it feels so good?
Look, I have heard that word so much over the last 4 years, and it is very catching, without a doubt. I probably use it 1,000 times a day at the moment.
You need to shorten it to PB or something, which I'm sure you probably do.
Yes, it does get shortened to PB quite a lot.
Okay, so for anyone, aka me, who's never played or seen pickleball, how does it work?
Yeah, so the easiest way to describe pickleball is there's two ways. You can either think you're playing table tennis, but you're standing on a table, or think you're playing a game of tennis, but it's on a much smaller court.
Right, so it's not on a tennis court necessarily, like not the same size.
Not necessarily. So the good thing about pickleball is you can kind of immerse yourselves in any given environment as long as it's a relatively hard surface to play on. So the court is the same perimeter as a badminton court for those badminton players out there. So it's roughly 6 metres wide by 13 metres long. So it's a small area really to cover for most people. You play using a paddle, which is a bit bigger than a table tennis bat, and then a wiffle ball, which is a hard plastic ball with 40 holes in it for an outside ball or 26 holes for an inside ball. And the biomechanics are very similar to tennis, ground strokes, volleys and the likes, but we have one really unique element to pickleball, which is an area of the court called the kitchen.
The kitchen.
The kitchen, yes. So it's a line that's 7 feet from the net. And what that part of the court is you can't actually step in there and volley the ball on the full. So it makes you stand back behind the kitchen line. It's also known as the non-volley zone. But in that kitchen area, you can't step into it and volley, which takes away the element of someone just standing on top of the net and smashing the ball.
Right.
So it becomes a real game of chess and strategy where people try to do these really little soft shots that make it land in the kitchen in front of your opponents where they can't do much with it.
Gee, this sport's just full of great names. Who decided on this kitchen zone?
Oh, there are some intricacies to pickleball that are very unique, and I had never heard of it in any other sport previously, but it was invented back in Bainbridge Island in 1965, so it actually dates back a long time, pickleball, but it's only really just started to go places in the last 20 years in the States, and probably the last 5 to 10 years in Australia.
Yeah, right. So it's just been kind of hanging on the edges alongside tennis and badminton, which, Brendan, I kind of think like if it's a sport that's very similar to these two sports, maybe even similar to table tennis as well to some degree, why does it exist if you can kind of find these things other than the kitchen in other sports?
That's a great question, and the entry level to pickleball is quite simple. So the skill set to actually jump on a pickleball court and have success is not as great as potentially some of those other sports that you have described. So whether you've come from a sporting background, a racket sports background, or no sporting background at all, you can actually step on a court, have success, and that's what brings people back to the sport because you can enjoy it with people of all ages. We see generations of people on the court, so grandparents playing with their children and their grandchildren on one court, and they can all hit, have a laugh, but still have a competitive game as well. And I think that's what's really unique about pickleball is that anyone can compete against most people, can have a really good game, but also you're only meters away from people. So it's such a social sport as well.
Yeah, someone has just texted in on 0487 991057. And this person says, I saw it on YouTube. Pickleball looks fun. An all ages sport, male and female. This person reckons it's a good dry season sport. Brendan, I don't know if you've been in the Territory in the wet and dry seasons, but, this person reckons that it's a good sport to play during the dry, which is like our winter, basically.
Without a doubt, it does get played at all times of the year, and we see examples, and I've seen them in Northern Territory as well. It's played outdoors at tennis courts, and it's played indoors at sport and recreation centres as well. So you get the best of both worlds.
3 on ABC Radio Darwin and the Northern Territory. Jess Ong with you this afternoon, having a chat to Brendan Lee, who's the Executive Officer at Pickleball Australia. Brendan, I just wanted to go back to something you said earlier about the balls and how they have a different number of hole in them depending on whether you're indoors or outdoors. Why the difference?
Yes, so it's due to the weight of the ball, the surface, but also the speed at which the ball moves through the air. So an outdoor ball has 40 smaller holes. So the ball's the same size indoors and outdoor balls, but the outdoor ball has 40 smaller holes, and the outdoor ball has 26 of the larger holes.
Okay, and that just helps with like the aerodynamics and all of those things?
Yes, without a doubt. The speed at which the ball is going to move through the air.
Okay, and where does the name pickleball come from?
So it was invented in Bainbridge Island in 1965. Now, there's a few conflicting stories on how the name actually came about. But one of the stories is that the families, so a couple of families were on holidays on Bainbridge Island, and they were bored. They just got back from the beach, and they wanted to play. The kids wanted to play this sport, so the parents just started to grab what equipment they could and started to play this game. So they had a few different bits of equipment, and this sport came to life. It was like badminton, like table tennis, but obviously had these really unique rules. They had a dog. Apparently it was called Pickles. And whenever they would hit the ball a wave too far from the court surface they were playing on, Pickles would go and fetch the ball. So they would yell Pickles, Pickles would fetch the ball, and it'd be like Pickles, ball. And that's one of the stories of how the very unique name of pickleball came about.
That should be the only story. What other story is there to rival that one? Any other story is just boring.
There is, but yeah, and it's not the story that I generally go with. It's something to do with boat crews back in the day. There was something about pickled boats. And
pickled boats?
It's definitely the more boring out of the two stories, hence why I always give that one.
There's just a whole lot of mystery surrounding this sport. It almost feels like, am I in a movie or something where I'm just, like, is Owen Wilson around or, whoever one of those other people are?
Well, the rate at which all those celebrities are taking up pickleball, it wouldn't surprise me if it's going to be in a movie soon.
Yeah, right. Okay, so how many people do you have playing across the country in Australia?
So official members of Pickleball Australia, we have just shy of 10,000 official members. So these are members that join their local club and their state association, hence join their national association. We estimate there's closer to 50,000 people that have actually played pickleball across Australia on a casual basis. And we expect that number to explode over 2024.
Okay, and now the Northern Territory Pickleball Championship is going to be held in August in Alice Springs. How's it going to work?
Yes, so Northern Territory is the last state for us to bring a pickleball tournament to. So we're very excited to obviously bring the NT Championships to Alice Springs in 2024. Basically, we'll offer all our Australian ranking events. So being the inclusive nature that it is, we have junior events, 19 plus, 35 plus, 50 plus, 60 plus, 70 plus, opens and para pickleball events. So players both para standing and para wheelchair and intellectual disability events. So our sport is very inclusive, and we actually announced the events through our channels last week, and the enthusiasm that we've actually received from players, not just locally, but across the nation to travel to Alice was quite unexpected. So It's shaping up to be a great event.
Okay, so you've got people from interstate wanting to fly to Alice Springs in August for the Territory Pickleball Championship.
I wouldn't be surprised if 100 interstate players actually make the trip to Alice Springs in August for the championships, yes.
Gee, Brendan, that's exciting. Very exciting for Alice Springs and for pickleball, of course. But yeah, what a place. Why in Alice Springs have you decided to have it there?
We've got a great club that's formed in Alice Springs. They've been up and running for probably 9 months, maybe 12 months now, Pickleball Alice Springs. And Narelle Clark has done a great job there in driving pickleball in Alice, and she was very excited at the opportunity to bring a state territory level event to Alice Springs. So we thought, why not? There's an opportunity there. There's a good facility there. And lots of people want to make their way to Alice Springs, as do I. So I'm very excited to check it out.
Oh, yeah, you're coming up?
Yes, the intention is a lot of our board of directors and our staff will be making a trip there as well, yes.
Okay. Jess, on with you this afternoon having a chat to Brendan Lee, who's the Executive Officer at Pickleball Australia. There's an NT Pickleball Championship to be held in August in Alice Springs. Apparently it is the place to be, or will be the place to be, come August. There is also a pickleball competition in the top end as well, I believe. So, yeah, it's just everywhere at the moment, Brendan. You're on the hot topic.
Yes, it's certainly growing across the nation, and more clubs, more and more venues all around the nation. As I said, from tennis centres to sport and recreation centres to purpose-built pickleball facilities, we're now seeing popping up all around the nation. So it is trending upwards, and it now is the time to get involved and have a game.
Yeah, okay, well, I probably should give it a whirl myself. I'm not that great at playing tennis, but, maybe pickleball's more my style. I just feel like I'm in an episode of The Truman Show or something when I keep saying pickleball.
Well, you've got, 5-6 months to train up, ready for the NT Championships.
Oh, so can anyone just show up? Can anyone just show up and...
Yeah, exactly right. It's, as long as you're a member of your local club or your state association, you are welcome to play in any sanctioned event around the country.
Oh, I love it. It really is pickleball, the game of the people.
It certainly is.
Brendan, thank you. I knew nothing about the world of pickleball, and now I feel all the richer, especially that story. That's the dog story is the one you need to keep going with. Don't worry about the pickled boats. No one cares about that. They just care about the dog.
No dramas at all.
Thanks, Brendan. That's Brendan Lee, who is the Executive Officer at Pickleball Australia. It's a sport that's taking off. Everyone is playing it around the country. Brendan, by the sounds of it, has high hopes for this sport that has existed since 1965, but has really only picked up momentum in Australia, at least over the last decade or so. And now there's some championships heading to the Northern Territory, the NT Pickleball Championships taking place in Alice Springs on the 3rd and 4th of August. So you can find out more about that on Pickleball Australia's website. So check it out. It's 3 on ABC Radio Darwin and the Northern Territory. After this song